A music supervisor has a lot of different kind of descriptions that people have applied to it. Essentially what it is, the way I look at it, is that it is somebody whose sole role is to supervise every aspect of music for a motion picture or television show. So when you have, you talk about in a production, you have a post-production supervisor, they oversee the editors, they oversee, the sound foley, they oversee budgets and scheduling, everything like that. It's the same for a music supervisor. Their job is to oversee the selection and hiring of a composer, the selection and hiring of music editors, the choices in music as far as songs. They're supposed to work with the composer creatively, work with the soundtrack label if it comes in, work on budgets, scheduling, everything like that, very technical stuff, but at the same time have an ear for good music, something that's appropriate for the film and for the budget of the film.
What's the range of money that people make for this kind of work?
That they make for it? It's going down. It's
or that you pay for it?
That we pay for licensed songs?
Well,
you're talking about?
If you
both are all going down.
Is that right?
It's all going down. Yeah, I mean, and it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about licensing a hit song, it's still going to be pretty high. It's going to be potentially in the hundreds of thousands and stuff like that. But it's all horse trading. There's no real kind of set scale for what something like that is going to cost, because then you start bartering with, well, I'm going to put it in the trailer, we'll make sure you're on our TV buy, which is going to be $15 million in TV buy, so it'll help drive the sales for the album, and you can barter a lot of this stuff and barter the costs down if you include it in some advertising. But a lot of times they'll also look at it and say, hey, look, you're getting a lot of bang for having our song in your advertising. We want a lot more money too. So it can be really complicated. But at the same time, one of the things at Trimark and Lionsgate, they prided themselves as being like the real independent studios. Their budgets were much lower than the bigger studios, anywhere between $2 to $10 million, which is minuscule for a lot of these studio pictures. So, our music budgets were about the same. So we had to be very creative in how we spent our money. So we would actually go out there and find up-and-coming bands, people who were on independent labels, people who weren't signed, people who didn't have major publishing deals, we didn't have to pay as much money to, every time one of the major labels lifts a pen, you're talking about at least $2,500. But if you go and do a deal with a band that is friends of yours that you've known forever, you call them up and say, hey, look, I only got $500 for this scene. Do you want to make a deal? We'll license your song. We'll put you in the movie. And if you have a good relationship and they're into it and they really want to get into it and they like the movie, people will do different deals. So I've seen anything from almost a gratis use for people who really want to be in it to I've paid as much as $500,000 for a song.
$500,000, huh? Who was that?
Who was that? I think we got Mary J. Blige for something like that, and I think we paid $250,000 for Coldplay. So.
Wow. How do you get paid?
A music supervisor is going to get paid as, like I said, they're a service job. So music supervisor will get paid as a fee, generally a flat fee. Some people get on a per song basis, but I think that's kind of ridiculous, because that's, if you're going to be a clearance person, that's one thing. But if you're actually providing a service, like I said, the whole kit and caboodle of like budgeting, scheduling, creative, everything like that, you are a part of the crew, and you should get paid like any other crew member. So you get a flat fee, or sometimes you get a weekly basis depending on how long you're on the show. The great part about being a music supervisor, as opposed to, and this is the big secret, when I say that they're a lot like a post supervisor or an art direction or somebody like that, the big difference between a music supervisor and those guys is, again, gets to the thing where they think that we're all rock stars. So we get to have our name in the front credits of the films. We get to be in the billing block for the posters, and we also get points on the records a lot of times. Really? So we'll get paid our fee, but then we'll also get points on the soundtrack albums we hope put together and stuff like that. So we are participants in a bunch of different kinds of things. So we try and get paid however we can.
Yeah, and keeping track of that must be a job in itself.
Yes, it is. Yes.
What kind of skills, if somebody wanted your job, what kind of skills did they need to develop to take that job? Well,
I mean, it gets into, when I first started saying what a music supervisor is, it really, like I said, in my definition, in fact, there's a movement right now with the Recording Academy to kind of make almost like a guild for music supervisors, saying you need to have these skill sets, and you have to treat it like it is, like you're a real supervisor for these things. So you have to have a business affairs background. You have to know how to do contracts. You have to understand copyright. You have to understand kind of budgeting. You have to have relationships at all the labels and all the publishing companies. You have to show that you're detail-oriented. And almost as a side thing, you really have to have great taste. It's almost much more important that you are really organized and have a good business sense about it, because a lot of times there's a lot of creative people involved in the project who can bring music and everything like that, but without the proper business backing, it's completely worthless.
You're a musician?
Barely. That's actually why I got into music supervision, because like I said, I grew up with musicians, and I was like, okay, I'm never going to be as good as these guys, so I'll figure something else out.
How many people have your job?
There's a lot of people out there calling themselves, music supervisors. Again, I keep emphasizing the fact that you need, a really strong basis in business and everything like that. We always like to say that you can always tell when that there's a real bad time at record labels when there's a lot more music supervisors, because they start shedding A&R people and they start looking at what they can do, and they're like, oh, I guess I could be a music supervisor. So, you get a lot of these music supervisors who start thinking that they're just into it, and that the sole job is to pick songs and give it to the director, and then, that's about it. And these guys generally get replaced, and all their music gets replaced as well when they realize it. Because unfortunately, you think about music supervisor, and, mostly they're going to think about the kind of a rock star guy who gets to hang out with, rock stars and movie stars, and that's the kind of job. But those are the guys that, really, when it comes down to the 11th hour, are gone. And, somebody who has a little bit more sense about them has to come in and fix it at the 11th hour.
How many hours of the day do you watch films?
Do I watch films? It depends on what I'm working on. I listen to music a lot more than I watch films. If I've watched, I don't watch a lot of movies that I'm not working on right now.
Well, what do you work on? You must have always something going, right?
Yeah, no, we're generally working on a number of pictures at the same time, but, I have a pretty good sense if I've seen a picture, once or twice. I know what the scenes are, and I know kind of the music that's going to work there. When it comes specifically to trying out different stuff, then I'll watch a scene repeatedly over and over and over again and try different songs out and see how it times out and everything.